Hi, it's Lola here, and today we're going to talk about a beginner to intermediate program for your first month of using your Kegel weights. So once you get your weights, the one thing you want to do is make sure you go through the user's manual. It has a lot of good tips in here. There's also instructions in the app. If you look in the app, there's instructions that you can follow for it. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you're doing your Kegel contraction the correct way. You want to put one hand on your stomach, okay, because you're going to be feeling those muscles underneath your hand, and they should not be moving, okay? The only muscles that should be moving should be your pelvic floor muscles. A little bit of your deep abdominals, but for right now we're only going to worry about making sure this muscle's not moving and these muscles aren't moving. So you put your hands there and you do your contraction. And I want you to think about doing it like an elevator contraction, where you're going to put this weight in and you're going to imagine that weight's a little elevator going up, and you're going to pull it up and in and then bring it back down again. Okay, so you want to be sure you're doing your Kegel contraction the correct way. So starting off with week 1, you can start with your lightest weight if you haven't had any of these before, okay, if you haven't done this before. Put the weight in and then lie down on your back and put your feet up or your knees up if that's comfortable for you. And I have somebody that can help us out here. On your back, you got your knees up, you got the weight in. Okay, and you want to imagine pulling that weight up and in. Maybe go up 4 floors with it and then back down 4 floors with it. Making sure you are breathing out as you pull it up. Okay, as you do your contraction, you want to be sure you're exhaling. So try it on your back, turn over on your side, try it on your side, turn over on your stomach, and then try it on your stomach that way. You can do a couple of contractions in each way. And then you could get up on your hands and knees and do it on your hands and knees and see if you can do it that way. If you can do all of that pretty simply, then you might want to try standing up. Okay, and I recommend you keep your panties on if you're going to be standing with the weight in at first. And you could lean forward on a desk or on something that you can lean forward on and try doing some of your contractions like that. If that works out okay for you, you could try showering with the weight in and see if you can hold it in there. The other thing that's really important is that you do a full relaxation afterwards. So if you're taking that weight up 4 floors, and you make sure you drop it back down 4 floors. And in between each set of contractions that you do, you want to inhale, bulge your belly a little bit. Okay, so inhale and just let your belly push out, let your belly sort of fill a little bit with air, and that'll help relax your pelvic floor. You'll do that in between each set. Okay, then you get to week 2. When you get to week 2, if you did twice a week and you did your exercises and you were able to hold this weight in pretty simply, then what you'll want to do next is you'll want to go ahead and increase your weight, go on to the next level of weight. Okay, so when you get that weight in, you can try doing a few things with that one. Okay, so you'll be standing and you can do some leg exercises. You can bring the legs out to the side like this. You could do some forward leg lifts like this, or some backwards ones like this. Okay, you can do a slow kick. See if you can keep the weight in while you do a slow kick. You can do some going up on your toes and back on your heels, toe and heel rises. Okay, and you can then try showering, and when you shower with the weight in, put your foot up on a bench and see if you can shave. Say if you're shaving your legs or whatever you're doing, or washing your toes with the foot up on the bench, if you can still keep the weight in. If that works out pretty well for you, then you're ready to move on to week 3 and 4. You can increase the weight as you need to. Don't worry if you have to drop back a weight every now and then because you're feeling weaker. That does happen. Always be sure you give yourself breaks in between. Okay, and when you get to, in other words, take days off, maybe twice a week would be ideal. When you get to weeks 3 and 4, then you can start trying maybe some walking. You can start trying to maybe do some household chores, vacuuming or whatever with the weight in. You could do some squats or sit to stands. So just some little mini squats where you start to squat. Because remember, as you get down into a squat, that pelvic floor is going to relax and it'll be harder to hold it in. So some little mini squats. Or you can do sit to stand where you sit in a chair and stand up. Sit in a chair, hold the weight in, stand up. Making sure you're exhaling each time as you pull the weight up and in. You can try some running, you could try some jumping, anything that you can do with the weight in as you progress. Now, if you'll look in the article below this, you'll see that I put an example of a 1-month progression. And you'll notice on some of them you had to drop back a little bit, you know, because you were really, you know, if you were really tired one day and you couldn't do it, then drop back. There's also places in the app where you can put notes to yourself as to maybe the exercises you did, what was easy, what was hard, especially if you're using this with your pelvic health physical therapist. You can add those kind of notes in there. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can always email us at support@joyontoys.com, and all of that is down in the article below this. So until then, one last little pearl of wisdom here. If you have a lot of pain, if you have any inflammation, if you think you have an infection, then stop. Don't use the weights. Go and see your doctor or go and see your pelvic health physical therapist and let them help you with what you need for that point. So, until then, happy Kegeling!